Good afternoon, everyone. Really apologies for the delay. I'm sure there's been a lot of networking, and even I had to also network a lot from the outside. So many things, like a lot of people to meet, a lot of distinguished, personalities, and we can only get them in a kind of events like this that is huge and very, very interactive. So it's really been an amazing time so far, and I'm really happy to be here. And we want to make progress. Literally, we have two major interactive sections happening. But coming in, the first is coming in as from a keynote speaker, and the second is the final, which is the interactive session where you have the panelists, and I will be also the moderator of that panel session. Now, we've heard so much from insights, big insights from people in the compliance and the banking industry with so many years of experience, more than 30 years. We've heard from in the telecommunications sector. Now we are going into the avenue of the regulatory sector. We have a distinguished personality who has done so much. A former director at the Central Bank of Nigeria. You can see how much the event has been able to encompass in terms of knowledge sharing. We are getting knowledge from all avenues of experienced professionals that can give us their own insights into what we're supposed to do. So we can display the profile of the next speaker, so that it's very, very important to have her. So we can read the profile of Mrs. Florence Abraham, the CEO, Chief Consultant in Dynamics D and EFIFA Partners. She's also the former Director of the Central Bank of Nigeria, professionally qualified in accounting, leadership and directorship, with proven integrity, anti-money laundering consultancy, educational, policies and administration. You can see our profile right there. With over 33 years of experience. You can imagine what we are going to get here. Over 33 years of experience in central banking as bank's regulator, with a proven ability in board and senior management and staff training. And although with the AML, anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism financing, prudential regulations, risk-based supervision, report writing and regulatory compliance. And just like I mentioned, she's a former director of the Central Bank of Nigeria, retired. We are coming with and about to listen to, a person, a distinguished personality that is bringing us with immense knowledge and, so much to give to us within this topic of digital frontiers with governance, risk, and compliance. We want to get this, knowledge from her. And then with that, with the introduction being done, and I'd like to call her out for just 20 minutes to be able to give her presentation. And I can't wait to get so much insight myself from this knowledge. Thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege to introduce you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh. Good afternoon, everyone. How is the day going? Can you join me to appreciate the organizers of this program, the Morgans, and the personality behind the Morgans, Dr. Folu Amusa. Can you please put your hands together for him? It's been an encouragement seeing people take the lead in pushing things that, ordinarily we would say, let the government do this. And so I appreciate the Morgans, and please thank you for having me here. I want to also observe all due protocols for the personalities that have been here and other keynote speakers and panelists. I celebrate every one of you. Okay, I'll be talking on the topic navigating the digital frontiers in GRC to address financial crime challenges in banks and other financial institutions. A few regulatory viewpoints will be addressed here. And so we're looking at, I just take some introduction, then we look at what we stand to benefit, and then what financial crimes that affect the financial industries are like. I would love to look at some of those innovations that have been done, a few of them, and then we look at what we may need to do going forward that will add to what we have done and take us to where we're heading to. Okay, so I've been well introduced, but that other side of me that I like to talk about is I have passion for the young people, how to see them go on the right path. And in this season of retirement, that's been my passion, trying to educate the young, not academically, but much more mentally, emotionally, and see how they can be more developed than just having academic qualifications. And so, let's go into the discussion proper. So, digital frontiers, we would say, are very wide, unexplored areas of technology, of which I believe is still expanding. As technology expands, we keep expanding, and provides a lot of innovations that could be explored, and we need to explore these frontiers to offer more opportunities in the financial industry and in regulation. Looking at governance risk, I want to, actually I missed my colleague's first presentation. I was out there. And so governance risk compliance has come to stay, and it's one of those things that we need to promote. Typically, the banks, the financial institutions, use this to ensure that they have a framework that is capable of preventing, and also detecting financial crimes. It aims to ensure that the organization itself is reliably able to achieve its objectives and also address its uncertainty and is able to act in integrity. There are 4 basic components: the strategy, the processes, the technology, and the people. And when an organization is abreast of this, addressing the strategy that is capable of keeping financial crimes under control or even preventing them, and is able to have processes in place that hinder or limit access to its systems and limit the perpetration of crimes, because the criminals are also advancing. As the frontiers are expanding, that's how crime is expanding. And so we need, to be able to adapt to the changing circumstances in our digital space. Financial crimes are actually illegal activities in our that would want to penetrate through our financial systems, use the systems, because it's just through the financial systems they can achieve more of their goal. And so we need to be able to prevent them. Looking at governance, we can use governance a lot of ways, and I would say, can move to the next slide. I would say that governance has a lot to do with the statutes. So the statutory environments the regulatory standards, the policies, the contracts, the processes, the procedures, the controls. These are governance activities, and they should all be tailored towards preventing crimes and frustrating every move towards criminal activities in the system. And the risk assessment, the risk scoring, monitoring, analysis, and integration, and mitigations. These are things that concern the risks. Compliance, we will need to use self-assessment, external audits, and reporting to ensure that we comply with regulations. I may not want to count the financial crimes in our environment. They are just increasing. I'm picking a few of them, talking about foreign terrorist fighters. Next slide. And then investment fraud. We have a lot of fintech and digital crimes that are affecting our financial industry. We do have proliferation financing. We have terrorism threats. We have them at the foreign level, and we do have them at the local level. Digital payment vulnerabilities are increasing. So what have we done so far in the light of trying to prevent crimes in our financial industries, and what has regulation done? In 2023, we know that ACAMS, next slide, ACAMS did publish a beneficial ownership guidelines, taking the extra step to data security, which we know is very key in prevention of crimes. And when ACAMS came up with this in October 2023, in our local parlance, we've been able to adjust our system and adapt to those changes also. And so this resource is designed to help financial institutions and other organizations to enhance their understanding of ownership and control in the context of AML, sanctions, and compliance. So understanding these concepts has implications for an organization's KYC and CDD processes, as well as sanction screening and client risk assessments. What am I saying there? If we can understand the ownership of the businesses, the accounts that are operating in our financial institutions, we will be able to control our environment. But the problem you see is that you may not be able to know the true owner, the beneficial owner, the controlling personality of an account. And this is a problem in our banks. And the Nigerian regulator has come up with something to enhance our beneficial ownership activities in the banks. It's geared towards data security. There is a strict regulation by way of circular, by way of guidelines that insists that the BVN and the NIN be tied together. These are ways of trying to know who is who. Who are we dealing with? The issue of beneficial ownership is a global issue, and it's of serious concerns in the financial systems and industry. And so the initiative of the CBN had been to bring together this BVN, NIN, and is strictly trying to interrogate the ecosystem to see how we can prevent more crimes into the industry. As one or the last speaker did talk about, the need for a unified system. I'm going to re-emphasize it. But there's been something in that direction. There is, recently there is an action that has been done. Please move the slides, I'm far ahead. Yeah. No. Go to done so far, the previous slide, please. Yeah. And so you see that there is the insistence from the CBN that in the process of profiling the customers' accounts and wallets, there's this NIPS industry customer account database that has been initiated, and it's helping, but we need to be familiar with it. There is NIPS industry customer account database that we need to further develop, and that is insisted on, that is being used. And then we have a lot of regulations, a lot of laws. There are guidelines on how each financial institution should profile the customers, you know, more stringent CDD and KYC rules to be able to identify the true beneficial owner. If I may go into that, you realize that a lot of account holders are not really the account owners. Yes. So when you are dealing with personalities, you need to know who the person is dealing for. And so we also have the PEPS guidelines. We have the TFS that has to do with targeted financial sanctions. You have the list to consult and be sure that every person that is coming into your financial institution is not a listed person for terrorism financing or proliferation financing. And these documents are available. The banks are strictly using them and are getting sanctioned if they fail to comply. And so there are lots and lots of laws and lots of guidances that have been issued in our current environment. A particular company, the Comply Advantage, conducted a research in London, and someone had talked about AI. We need to leverage on AI. And that research showed that customers are even willing to allow their documents or their details to be used by AI in a bid to have a little of, exposure of what is happening in every financial institution. They want to, like, yes, over 65% accepted that they would like to share their details to enable AI help in preventing the fraud. And so they use those details to track the fraud patterns in the environment and use it to advise and encourage financial institutions to leverage on this AI to prevent financial crimes or limit them in their environment. So there are key innovations that we would need here. We need to advance more of public-private partnership. We need to improve on cross-border and domestic information sharing. We need to use quality data. This issue of data cannot be overemphasized. Data has been an issue in our environment, and we are striving, the nation, the private sector, the public sector have been striving at seeing how we can have reliable data, both in reporting and in making information available to the public. And so we need global systemic improvements for financial crime risk management, and we also need coherent implementation of financial crime compliance. Like I said, there are lots and lots of regulations, standards, guidance, circulars, and stuff like that. But what is our problem? We need regulatory and laws and guidelines that have been issued, and that will make us have a lot of homework, having regulatory clarity. And I want to believe that we need to explore the digital frontiers to ensure that we can have more regulatory clarity of what is expected in the industry and what can be improved upon. There are various benefits if we are able to do this, and I may not want to talk much on that, so please move the slide. So how do we now explore these digital frontiers to improve our regulatory environment? Both the operators can also leverage on this, but more so I'm looking at the regulatory environment. We need digital harmonization of our laws, and I believe that it's one of the things we need to explore. Yes, we need strong cross-border information sharing. We need to get beyond our environment. I was reviewing a study that was done by one institute, and they made it very clear, financial institution made it very clear that, look, we can see more than 25% of what happens in our own environment. We need to interact with other operators in the industry, because take, for instance, it's only 25% of what happens in our financial institution that we can control. Then the remaining 75, we can see through an intense collaboration with other financial institutions, and indeed with cross-border institutions. And so the issue of digital currency will go a long way to help us, because we would at least limit illegal money transfers and be able to track our payments, and it will also lower the risk of stealing and the risk of e-money. And then we need adequate frameworks. Yes, we have a lot of frameworks, but there are still some gaps that need to be filled. We need to improve our digital IDs and signatures, ensuring that there's a central digital identity that people could access. Please move. I didn't discuss this slide. Yeah, this is where we are. So we need to look at the ways that we can improve on what we have through more digital currencies, adequate frameworks, much more, and enhancing what we have on our digital IDs and signatories, trying to have a central digital identity framework that everyone can access, and then harmonizing our laws. I want to just talk about the key takeaways. Next slide, please. Strong collaboration is needed. It takes a network to defeat a network. Yes, we need more collaboration, more effective information sharing,